What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, if you were to go out and ask a lot of Detroit Lions fans whether Jarrad Davis was the correct pick in the 2017 NFL draft, a lot of them would tell you no. A lot of them would give you other names that they would prefer us have drafted. A lot of them would tell you Jarrad Davis is a bust. He hasn't lived up to that first round hype. He hasn't done a lot in the NFL that would warrant a first round pick. However, a few DSA roundtables ago, we were talking about Jarrad Davis and whether, I can't remember exactly what the topic is, but it was about Jarrad Davis, and Luke G brought up a couple of really good statistics that kind of made me second guess my opinion on Jarrad Davis and whether or not he actually was the correct pick in that draft, whether or not he was actually a bust, and just was he the correct pick in that draft for the Detroit Lions. Now that is what we're going to be talking about today. Today we're going to be going over Jarrad Davis' career with the Detroit Lions and talking about whether he actually was the correct pick in the NFL draft for the Detroit Lions. Now before we do get into the video, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying the Detroit Lions content, consider taking those 2 seconds out of the day it does take to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It takes only 2 seconds out of the day to make mine, and I'd be very, very appreciative to everybody that chooses to do so. But with that being said, let's get into talking about Jarrad Davis' career so far and whether or not he was the correct selection for the Detroit Lions in the 2017 NFL draft. Now, Jarrad Davis was selected at the 21st overall spot in the 2017 NFL draft out of the University of Florida. Now, throughout his career with the Detroit Lions, Jarrad Davis has played in 41 games, total 259 total tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 19 quarterback hits, 10 quarterback sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 9 passes defended, and 1 interception. However, a lot of people think that Jarrad Davis was the wrong selection, and a lot of them think he is a very bad player. Now, there are some reasons for this. The most common answer for why people think Jarrad Davis isn't a good linebacker is because Jarrad Davis does struggle in coverage a lot of the times. Now, I have seen Jarrad Davis play good coverage stats before. There was one play at the end of his sophomore season where we were playing the Packers. The game really didn't matter, but Jarrad Davis was playing, and he read the quarterback's eyes really well. He played the coverage very well. The quarterback threw it right to him. It should have been a pick, and if he picked it off, it probably would have gone back to the house. Like, he read it very well. He played that coverage snap very, very well. So I've seen Jarrad Davis play coverage well before. I've seen him do it, but more times than not, if you put Jarrad Davis in coverage, it's not going to end well because that's just not his strong suit. It's just not what he is good at. And then the second most common answer is that, this 2017 draft class was stacked. I mean, there were guys that went behind him like DJ Watt, Buda Baker, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, even, Zach Cunningham. All of these players went after him, and that far after him. A lot of them went in the second round or late first. A lot of them went within 10 to 15 picks of Jarrad Davis, and that's why a lot of Lions fans are frustrated because there were so many talented guys, so many Pro Bowlers, even an All-Pro or two that went after Jarrad Davis that the Detroit Lions could have drafted at the 20th selection, and instead they did select Jarrad Davis. Now, when comparing Jarrad Davis and talking about whether or not he was a bust, we got to compare him to his draft class because, you could say that Jarrad Davis wasn't the best linebacker or isn't the best linebacker, but was he the best linebacker in his class? Because it's not like you can just pick out a linebacker from any season, It was, there were only so many players in the 2017 NFL draft, and the only fair way to compare them is, to compare him to every other player in that class. Now, if you look at the 2017 NFL draft class, Jarrad Davis ranks 4th in that class in tackles, only behind Buda Baker, Zach Cunningham, and Jamal Adams. Now, Buda Baker and Jamal Adams are both Pro Bowlers, and Jamal Adams is an All-Pro safety. So he's, behind some pretty tough competition there. Then you move on to sacks. Jarrad Davis is 10th in his draft class in sacks. So if you go down every single player that was selected in the 2017 draft class, Jarrad Davis ranks 10th in sacks. Now, he's behind guys like TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Takk McKinley, Jonathan Allen, Carl Lawson, Derek Barnett, Larry Ogunjobi, Jamal Adams, and Derich White Jr. Now, 5 of those players were first-round pass rushers. 3 of them were late-round pass rushers, and 1 is Jamal Adams, who is an all-pro safety, and that is used and blitzed a lot more than Jarrad Davis. So, if you look at what he does, he's the only linebacker on that list. He is one of only 2 guys in the top 10 that is not a pure pass rusher. The only other guy is obviously Jamal Adams, who is a safety, but as I said, he pass rushes a lot more than Jarrad Davis. So the fact that Jarrad Davis is in the top 10 of sacks in a draft class with guys like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt and Jamal Jamal Adams and Derek Barnett and Tack McKinley. That's some really good competition. Those are Pro Bowl guys. Those are all pro guys. Myles Garrett just, a little while ago signed the biggest contract by a defensive end ever. Jamal Adams is going to get paid. He just got traded, but it was for an absolute haul, like 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a player. Like, all these guys that he's surrounded by are phenomenal. All these guys are all pros, Pro Bowlers, and none of them are being considered busts by their NFL franchises. So why is Jarrad? Well, as I mentioned, he struggles in coverage, but that's the only thing he struggles with. Last year, Jarrad Davis actually improved, even though the stats might not tell you that he improved. If you look at the advanced stats and how he actually played, I actually think he had a fairly solid season. Now, Jarrad Davis in the 2018 season was blitzed 57 times, had 7 quarterback hurries, 4 quarterback knockdowns, 6 sacks, and he had a 15.3 missed tackle percentage. Now in 2019, Jarrad Davis was only blitzed 32 times, so he was blitzed 25 times less. However, he only had 1 less hurry with 6. He only had 1 less quarterback knockdown with 3. He had a couple less sacks, and he had a 13.7 missed tackle percentage. So to me, Jarrad Davis wasn't playing much worse than he was last season, and he had a lot worse D-line play in front of him. In the 2018 season, Snacks Harrison was going crazy. Snacks Harrison was playing really, really well, and he allowed Jarrad Davis to get free shots at the quarterback. He allowed Jarrad Davis to get through more frequently and more often, and he allowed Matt Patricia to blitz Jarrad Davis more often. Now, in the 2017 season, Jarrad Davis was not blitzed as much because the defensive line wasn't playing as well. Snacks Harrison wasn't commanding those double teams. He wasn't really opening up holes for the linebackers, and Matt Patricia did not. Matt Patricia decided to drop more players in coverage more than blitzing because he had confidence in his defensive line, and it did not work out. So Jarrad Davis wasn't blitzed as much, but he still had solid production. He only had 1 less hurry, 1 less knockdown. Now, he did have a couple less sacks, but again, he wasn't necessarily being used as much. He had missed a couple games last season, and he wasn't blitzed as often as he was in the 2018 season. So you could say the statistical drop-off was there, but really, to me, he wasn't playing worse. He was just not being utilized as well as he was in the 2018 NFL season. Don't get me wrong. This video is not defending, or this video is not telling you that Jarrad Davis is a perfect linebacker. This video is not here. I'm not here talking about Jarrad Davis, defending him to tell you that, he was the best player in that draft class, that he was the best player the Detroit Lions could have selected. But he wasn't the worst. He definitely was not the worst player out of that draft class. He was not the biggest bust out of that draft class. And he was, in my opinion, he isn't really a bust at all. Now, Jarrad Davis struggles in coverage. We know that. We've talked about it in this video. We've talked about it on this channel numerous times. He struggles in coverage. But as I said in the beginning, I've seen him play coverage before. I've seen him do it correctly. And when he does it correctly, he looks like a great all-pro linebacker. However, he just needs to put it all together at one time. Now, but even though he struggles at that, one weakness does not make you a bad player. One weakness on a football team where you were in the NFL and you are great at so many other things, that one weakness, Jarrad Davis, is being pass coverage, does not make him a bad player, does not make him a bad draft selection, and it does not make him an NFL bust. Now, Jarrad Davis is a great tackler. Jarrad Davis is a phenomenal athlete. He has sideline to sideline speed. He's a great tackler. He could tackle you for loss. If you run outside, if you run the football, Jarrad Davis is going to stop you more times than not. Jarrad Davis is a high motor. He's a great leader. He learns a lot. He loves absorbing information. He loves the game of football. He's a leader in the locker room. He's a leader on the field. The coaching staff loves him because of his effort and just, his leadership in the locker room. And, he has a lot of great qualities. He has the qualities to be a great linebacker. He has the leadership. He has the determination. He loves the game of football. He loves to learn, and he loves playing football with his teammates, which is something that, a lot of great linebackers have. If you want to be a great linebacker, you need that leadership. You need that determination. You need that ability to learn and get better. And Jarrad Davis has all those qualities. Now, Jarrad Davis, he has the athletic ability to, he has the size, he has the speed, he has the athletic ability, and he can hit really, really hard when it's just one-on-one in the hole. Now, Jarrad Davis has not had a mentor. When Jarrad Davis got here in the 2017 NFL season, he was the number 1 linebacker. He stepped in right away and was the commander-in-chief of this defense. And why I think that has its advantage. I also think it hurt him in the long run because Jarrad Davis has never had a mentor. Jarrad Davis has never had a guy who can come in and teach him how, he's had the coaches obviously, but he's never had a player come up and say, from a player's perspective, hey, you're doing this wrong. If you just adjust this a little bit, if you drop back just a yard quarter two further, you're in position to make this interception. If you follow this guy a couple seconds longer, you're in a position to make this play. He's never had that guy in the locker room before, but he does now. The Detroit Lions brought in Jamie Collins this offseason, who is a athletic, big, fast, strong linebacker that loves the game of football, has that leadership. He reminds me a lot of Jarrad Davis from an athletic standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, and I think that Jamie Collins could come in and be that mentor. I know Jarrad Davis is 3 years in, and he still has a lot of things to work on, but now Jarrad Davis has that mentor. Jarrad Davis has the guy that can come up to him during the game and say, hey, on this play, you did this wrong. Or he has it from a player's perspective now. Because a coach can say, okay, you did this wrong, but it's harder, when you're a coach, it's harder to explain things than if you're a player. If you're a player standing next to that guy, you can tell him exactly what to look for on that given play because you're seeing the exact same things. You can show him exactly what you see and how you see the game, and then that's going to help him. Jamie Collins is going to play a lot in Detroit, and he's going to help Jarrad Davis immensely. He's going to be the first mentor Jarrad Davis has really had, and he's going to be able to say every single play, hey, Jarrad, look out for this crossing yard, look out for this dig, hey, watch the edge, watch for this, stretch. He's going to be the guy calling the plays, and Jarrad Davis is going to thrive. He's going to learn from Jamie Collins, and he's going to be great. Not to mention, Jarrad Davis just bulked up in this offseason and got even bigger and stronger. Jarrad Davis added 21 pounds of muscle and dropped his body fat by 4.8% in this offseason. I mean, Jarrad Davis struggles at some things, but he is by no means a bust in the NFL. Jarrad Davis has accomplished what he has in the NFL without a mentor, and in my opinion, without being utilized correctly. Jarrad Davis is not a coverage linebacker, and the Detroit Lions are insistent of dropping him into coverage a lot, and I don't understand that, but the fact that Jarrad Davis has accomplished what he has, the fact that he's led the Lions in tackles since he's joined the team, the fact that he's been the commander-in-chief in the middle for almost the entirety of the time he's been in Detroit, shows me that Jarrad Davis is not a bust. Jarrad Davis has been the heart and soul and the center of this defense for a very long time, or for the last couple of years, and he's still growing, he's still developing, and now he has a guy to teach him the right ways to do things. So with that being said, the answer to the video, no, I don't believe Jarrad Davis was a bust. I actually think he was a very solid pick. In my opinion, he was the second best linebacker in his draft class, only behind TJ Watt, and him and TJ Watt do not play the same position at all. TJ Watt is a primary pass rusher. He puts his hand in the dirt. He's on the defensive line the entire time, and Jarrad Davis doesn't do that. So in my opinion, Jarrad Davis was the best linebacker in this draft, or the best inside linebacker in his draft, the best off-ball linebacker in this draft. And, the Detroit Lions needed that position. The Detroit Lions needed help with a linebacker position, and Jarrad Davis came in and improved the unit. In no means is Jarrad Davis a bust for the Detroit Lions, and in my opinion, he was actually the correct pick. Now, with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. If you are new to the channel, as I said, please take those 2 seconds out of the day. It does take to subscribe and like the videos. It means the world to me, and I'd be very, very appreciative to everybody that chooses to do so. But with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think Jarrad Davis is a bust? Do you think he was the correct or the incorrect pick in that 2017 NFL draft? Let me know that down in the comments below. But with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. If there is Lions news before tomorrow, I'll obviously make a video letting every single person know. But until then, that is all I got for you guys today. I will see all of you tomorrow with more Detroit Lions content. Hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, guys.